I'm in Heavener, Oklahoma, checking out a runestone that they have here that they think was actually proof that Vikings were here between 600 and 800 AD, living in this valley. It kind of translates into valley owned by Glome. So they think that it was like a land claim, saying that this is someone's property. They have a couple other little stones here too. That's kind of an interesting thing. I'm checking out the Spiro Mounds in Spiro, Oklahoma. And they have this little reconstruction of a hut. It's kind of seen better days. I think the storms have been knocking it out. But the carpenter bees have really done a number on that corner there. I don't want to get too much closer because there are a ton of them. But there's also some mounds right there and there. And there's a couple more that I'm going to check out. Up here was the chief's burial mound, although it's kind of hard to tell with all the trees growing, but it's been quite a long time. Well, it was mostly destroyed by a mining company like 100 years ago. Sorry, there are just a ton of flies and gnats and anyways, it was destroyed for the most part, but when they bought it up to use as like a national park, they rebuilt it to match a picture that was taken in like 1914 before it was destroyed. My next stop in Oklahoma was to the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve in Pawhuska. It is a 39,000 acre preserve that has an ever-growing herd of bison living on it. It was a nice scenic drive that took me about 3 hours to drive around, and it was great to see so much untouched grassland. The whole time I was there, I could see the bison off in the distance, and then when I saw 2 bison near the road up ahead, I got excited and sped up so I could see them. I'm coming to get you, bison. I'm coming for you. I sped up real quick so I could get a picture and get close to them, but there 2 bison crossed the road a minute ago. See? They're pretty big, so I'm going to go ahead and move along and let them, chow down on some grass. My final stop in Oklahoma was to the Great Salt Flats, so I could check it out and dig for selenite crystals. It was super windy, so unfortunately everything I said got covered up by the sound of the wind. The soil being too salty to grow any trees will cause that. For a while they stopped letting people dig for crystals because they thought it might have an impact on the migratory birds that land there to eat and to nest, but quickly they realized that without the holes that people dig that would fill with salt water, the flies that the birds relied on for food wouldn't spawn. And without the mounds of sand people left behind, the birds could only lay their eggs on the ground, which would then flood when it rained, and it would kill the babies. So they allowed people to start digging again, and in a certain area, and then the rest of the salt flats they have roped off to try and keep it untouched.